In times like these, we have but one choice: to go through the trenches of spirituality and to fight the spiritual war on the fronts of all of the wickedness that is going on in the world. Now, you can either be sore from growth on this journey, or you can be punished by your own sense of regret. Now, I intend to do the former and not the latter. And in this video, I want to encourage why it's so important for men to be on semen retention and how you should keep your leverage with any woman that you're dealing with, and how semen retention can actually help you keep that leverage because you're retaining your seed, you're retaining your essence. So obviously you're going to have some kind of spiritual attunement that is a fine material and fine reforming and processing of information. You're going to have a refined sense of self as well. But the more you go on semen retention, the more you realize that women are absolutely horrible and will destroy you whenever they seem to have any kind of leverage. Now, in the modern dating game, women have all of the leverage in the world. Literally. They have possibilities coming at them from every which direction, digitally, through any kind of social media, wherever they go. Women absolutely do have the upper hand in dating. But one thing that you can do as a man, your biggest tool, your biggest sense of resolve in any kind of situation is to be able to walk away and really mean it. Now, sometimes you just have to get straight to the point with women. And I'm not sure if anybody has seen the Peaky Blinders show. I have not personally seen it, but I've seen a lot of videos online about it. And in one of the shorts that I saw, it's the main character asking if the woman, "Do you want to fuck me?" And she gulps and she's like, "Well, what do you speak to all women like this?" And he says, "Only when I don't know what they want." And she says, "Well, what if they don't want to?" And he says, "Well, then it makes life simpler." And he takes a drink. And honestly, I'm not saying that that's what you should do, but I'm saying that being direct is actually very useful in instances like this where you don't know what the woman wants. Because if you don't know what the woman is actually looking for, and if you actually know that, like, okay, something is going on here, but I'm not sure what. Like, obviously we have a connection, but what kind of connection is this? Like, what is... Because it is a game, right? So you have to play the game to some degree. And you should also be mindful of taking any advice on this channel about dating, or any channel about dating. I don't give like advice about dating or anything like that, or girls or men, just because I just know what I've seen and I know what I've experienced and I know what works and I know what doesn't, as far as getting a woman that is of God, number one, and how to vet certain people in your life. Because I don't have a large circle of people in my life, and the people that I actually let in to know what is going on in my life, I'm fairly reserved about it, and I'm fairly, I would say, protective about it as well. But the reason that sometimes you just need to get to the point with some women is then you'll absolutely know whether or not to walk away or not. And it's almost like don't even look at it as heartbreak, because some guys, they'll look at it as a heartbreak and such, and it's like, are you kidding me? That is a freaking reward, bro. That is a reward. So Absolutely. Absolutely. Take that and run with it, because she just gave you the best gift that she could ever possibly give you, which is the freedom to move on. And so if you're direct with her, and especially on semen retention, you're going to understand this. And you have to remember also that semen retention is not the focus is not getting women. It's not. It's becoming more spiritually inclined and becoming more self-aware, and women are just going to naturally be a byproduct of that. You don't have to make them the focal point of your existence, but you also don't have to repress any of those kinds of desires that you have to be with with certain women. And in fact, I would say that if you do repress those feelings of like wanting to pursue something and you don't, like let's say your head says no, but your heart says yes. Or your heart says yes and your mind says, or your heart says no and your mind says yes. There are certain things that you have to really acknowledge about yourself and your kind of attachment styles in that kind of situation. So if your heart is saying yes and your head is saying no, sometimes you just got to take the leap of faith. If it seems stupid to your brain, it probably is to some degree, but that doesn't mean that you can still hold your frame as a man and keep your leverage. Now, what exactly do I mean by keeping your leverage? It means in one instance, it means to keep them on their toes. Be unpredictable, because that is really the essence of masculinity, is to be unpredictable, however, maintaining a sense of stability, because stability is by definition masculinity. If you are not stable, then you are not masculine per se, right? So there's a certain kind of degree in which you have to understand what it actually means to be stable within yourself, and semen retention will help you do that. It's almost like semen retention will allow you to process your emotions easier, and you'll actually feel your emotions more genuinely. And here's the thing. Let's say you are the authentic person that you are, and you are going out there, you're being present, you're being true to who you are, you're being authentic, and you get played. Guess whose fault that is? That's not always your fault. If you are being honest and straightforward, and somebody is wearing a mask, and you don't quite see it until a little bit down the road, well, that's not entirely your fault because somebody was wearing a mask. But this is why it's so important to vet people. You have to learn how to vet people into your life, because here's the thing also. Women will tell on themselves. Not exactly with what they say, but with what their actions are. Women will say one thing and do another almost every time. Like it still baffles me to this day to watch some women say certain things but then act in other ways, and it's just like, how this is going to sound a little bit I guess you could say misogynistic, but it's like, why did we ever let women have a say in the political sphere? If in their relationships and in life, what most of the time they do is entirely different from what they say they're going to do, what the hell were we thinking as men to allow them into the political sphere? But anyway, that's a side note. The point is that you have to learn how to watch the actions more than what they're just saying to you, because what they're saying to you isn't always going to be true. And it may have a hint of truth, but here's what I've noticed with women in the past, especially women that are a bit more narcissistic. They'll, like Cersei in Game of Thrones, they'll use the truth to tell lies. So they'll use certain words to influence you, but the words can have multiple meanings, right? And so you're never quite sure where you stand. Those are the kinds of women you want to stay away from. The women that are showing commitment by the day and are showing through their actions that they want you around, that's the kind of woman that you actually want to go for. So getting straight to the point is really helpful in these kinds of situations. And it also helps you weed out the people that you actually don't want. So if your heart is saying yes and your head is saying no, I would say go for it, but keep your leverage. Make sure you sustain the ability to walk away at any time. Make sure that you're asking more questions, because sometimes when you ask questions, you're not really giving women much to finesse you with. When you ask questions about them, which is what they really want anyway, they would like to talk about themselves. Women like that. And I'm the kind of guy that likes to listen to women when they're not being dumb and crazy, because men are acting dumb and crazy too, but because this isn't a video to pick on women or how to manipulate women or anything like that. This is a video on how to really maintain your spiritual presence while on semen retention, while also interacting with women. And you're going to get this a lot more naturally when you're on semen retention. I know when I wasn't on semen retention, I've been on it for over a year now, about a year and 1 month plus. And I can say without a doubt, 3 years ago, if I tried certain things that I would be trying now, like if I said certain things to certain women today that I was trying to say to them 3 years ago, that would have never freaking worked. Ever. That would have never worked. And it's so funny, like even 4 to 5 years ago, you look back on your life and you think to yourself, bro, what? You thought that was going to seal the deal? There's no way, man. There's no way. So really have to acknowledge where you're at too. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be brutally honest about where you're at in the situation and where she's at in her situation, because you might be ready for something that she's not, and she might be ready for something that you're not. She might be wanting a certain kind of commitment, but she also wants to date other people. Now, if you are looking for just, if you're just looking for a concubine or just a friends with benefits kind of a thing, which I don't recommend, I don't see the point, really. I don't see the point. But if that's something that you want, then yeah, that's the girl for you. But if you're looking for something more as far as a long-term relationship, taking it slow is actually the right way to go about it, because that shows that you're actually intentional and that you actually have a purpose for what you're saying and what you're doing, and you're not just there to be there. You could be talking to other women, or you could be talking to other men as a woman, but you're choosing to be with this person because you're willing to see that obviously there's some kind of connection here that you both want to build off of. And that's that. So it's all about really also, I would say, connecting to your hero instinct as well. On semen retention, you can connect to your hero instinct and you see yourself more as a hero as well of your own life. And that's what's really important. If you can see yourself as a hero of your own life, where you do not sacrifice your dreams, where you make sure that you are willing to do everything to stay in those trenches and to actually be sore from the spiritual growth that you are going through and endure that kind of pain, even though it may hurt your ego for a little bit, but what's worse? Getting hurt and seeing reality for what it is, or fantasizing about a situation in your head that is absolutely false. The choice is yours, but I prefer reality and not delusion. So with that being said, I hope this message is useful and insightful. And if there's any questions about semen retention or you want to do a consultation with me, please contact me in the contact information below. And peace be with you. Till next time.